glutes, quads, hamstrings should be substantially more developed relative to the upper body. And there's going to be a significant difference top to bottom in that silhouette. And again, I go back to that stick over inverted V. That's the way that I see it. Now, keep in mind, I hear this all the time. Well, I've got big legs, so I'm wellness. Maybe, maybe, but you have big legs compared to what? And what do they look like? Are your glutes developed appropriately? What about your quads? What about your hammies? What about the hamstrings? Is your lower body development muscular, or do you genetically just carry the body fat you have below the waist, right? Like we often, years ago, we'd hear a pear shape. If there's quote unquote just junk in the trunk, that doesn't mean wellness. Wellness is that stick over the inverted V. The upper body's muscular. The upper body has definition. It's just the lower body is much more muscular and still has definition. And, people that often find themselves in wellness, maybe they were a track athlete through high school and through college. I've had a number of women that were competitive track athletes in high school, did track in college. They have a lot of short distance sprint work in training, and they just end up a little more muscle mass below the waist. They end up asymmetrical. That's a good fit. Now, if your upper body is skinny fat, right? So not big, small, but your lower body is bigger, but it's mostly body fat. That doesn't mean you belong in wellness. And we had competitors entering early on when wellness came out where they just carried their body fat below the waist and they didn't have that muscular development. Again, are your glutes developed appropriately? What about your quads? What about your hamstrings? Moving into figure, again, I go back to my down and dirty X. Does the individual, if I look at your blacked out silhouette, do you look like an X, right? So wider shoulders, smaller waist, wider at the hips. So think hourglass, right? Structure. And then look at the blacked out silhouette of the figure athlete. Do you look like that? There should be shape, symmetry. Again, that X frame. The upper body matches the lower body. The lower body matches the upper body, which means you need to have a wide back, a V taper, and then we should have an increase in the lower body. Definitely more muscle mass than bikini in both the upper body and lower body, but then also that structure difference where we are going to see the midsection come in together. Again, we want to look for that. We want to look for that X frame. Another common mistake is competitors say, well, I'm just too muscular for bikini, so therefore I'm figure. Well, thinking you're too muscular for bikini doesn't automatically equal figure, right? And I've had competitors do this. I've had competitors enter our contest in figure because they thought they were muscular enough. But again, if we look at that silhouette, it might look like that skinny X in this case compared to that silhouette of a figure competitor. You're not going to do well in figure. And it is true. You may be starting to outgrow that category. You may be starting to move away from bikini and into figure, but more often than not, it's a case of maybe we're getting too lean for bikini. So we're starting to see extreme vascularity, ripped rectus abdominis. So, highly visible, etched midsection, six-pack muscles, lines in the quads. We're starting to get too lean. That doesn't necessarily mean figure. You still have to have enough muscle mass to be competitive. And again, you want an X frame like that, not like the skinny X. And here's some examples, right? Like the teal blue bathing suit versus maroon. That's going to be somebody that might be lean, but not big enough for figure.